All right. Well, we're live. It's time. Yeah, they could see us. I think. I don't know. At least on my end, it looks like they can see us. I can never tell. For all we know, there could be somebody with a broken monitor that somehow managed to navigate their way to the show that's just listening to this.
Could be.
Yeah. You know, if it was an old computer, there's old computers that, as long as you have faith, you could easily navigate it without a monitor because you're just using your keyboard. You just have no idea if what you're doing is successful or not.
Printouts tell you. That.
Oh yes. You could just do like a print screen every so often to see the results of what you're doing.
Yeah, that's how mainframes work, right? They print
Yeah, more or less.
Ticker tape or.
Well, there's a lot of analog computers that still work that way too, right? Like they're just constantly doing printouts as when something changes. But anyway, welcome to Super Serial Showtime, everyone. As always, I am your host, The Metal, and joining me is my co-host, Marsupial Gamer, who's actually here on Monday. You weren't here last Monday, I don't believe. I think we had, I think Buck filled in, right? Yeah.
I believe so.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about, I don't know, whatever, movies, shows. Heck, if there's a comic we want to talk about, we talk about it. But that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to talk about. Is there anything on your mind particularly?
Not super a lot. I don't know.
Right.
I've been watching a little Inuyasha, which I've never seen before.
Yes, it's a classic.
Been interesting. Yeah, it's neat because, like, I guess, is it still going on, or did it?
No, Inuyasha as a manga ran from 97 to, I think, 2008, so for like 11 years it ran. And then obviously the anime was a little bit after that, right? I gave it...
Yeah.
I don't remember when the anime started. Usually they'll try to give it like a little bit of a head start to build up. Though not necessarily the case anymore. Sometimes it'll be like, you get 6 months and then we're starting the anime. But if I guess, like maybe 99 might have when it started, 2000. I don't remember exactly. But I believe the last thing for Inuyasha was maybe 2010, 2011. I might be completely wrong on that. My timeline for when I forgot the name of it. They did some movies, and then there was like a final season after the movies, which is called like the final act or something like that. I forget when the final act happened.
This is claiming, IMDb claims it only went on for 5 years.
What, the anime?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Series.
So the TV series it ran through the aughts mostly.
Yeah.
There was an initial TV series, then there was like 5 movies, and then there was the final act, which might have a different listing.
Yeah, the final act. Oh, okay. It's another TV series for another 2 seasons.
2 seasons, yeah.
Or wait, 3 years? Maybe it's just one big.
Well,
I guess we're calling it one big season of 26 episodes.
Yeah, probably. Because that's the length of the episodes would have been when the where the series started, and then obviously over time seasons have been getting smaller. But traditionally, 24 to 26 episodes would have been a season.
So I guess it was over the course of really 1 year, well, from 2009 to 10. So yeah, that's why he thought, that it went till 2010, because it did.
Yeah. I recalled it being close to like 2010 or whatever, so yeah.
So there were 4 movies?
Maybe. I remember there being 4 or 5. I don't remember exactly.
Okay.
I've seen it all. It's been a long time since my last run through it, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like 4 movies. Anyway, my point was, so it started in 2000, and it's very reminiscent of 90s and even 80s cartoons that I remember. At least like the music is very 80s in places, and the animation is very 90s. So
Yeah, well, most of the animation, it was kind of like a mix of it, but it was a lot of hand-drawn cell animation with digital effects added on top of it. Like some of it you could see blur effects and stuff when she says "sit boy" and Inuyasha falls down and things like that. But a lot of the effects could have just been done practically. It was the earlier days of integrating digital stuff into cartoons.
So it'll be interesting to see how it evolved over the course of 10 years.
Yeah.
I imagine the last season,
I believe it's
probably
widescreen.
look very different.
Yeah, I think Final Act is widescreen.
Yeah, and it kind of reminds me of like Pokemon a little bit. Is the sort of the little insert cards, I guess at the end of the season or at the end of each episode, kind of like who's that Pokemon? But
Yeah, at the end of
we saw.
every episode of Inuyasha, there's like a little character kind of like call out card that tells you about it, an infographic.
Yogurt.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think we're not very far into season. Maybe 8 episodes, 10 episodes.
Yeah, somewhere around there. We just met Shippo, I think was the last thing that happened. Who is a permanent member of their party, little fox kid who lost his dad. As you could tell early on, him and Inuyasha don't really get along, and that's kind of going to just be a staple for a long time. So be prepared for that. It's kind of cute and funny. They're little, almost like a playful sibling rivalry between each other, despite the fact that they're not related at all.
Yeah, I kind of thought that it seemed odd that there were only 2 main characters for a while. So yeah, I guess it's not too surprising that we haven't formed, or we hadn't formed the whole party yet. I don't know if this is it.
Well, so Takahashi kind of has a habit of how her stories are told, like who the main characters are. All of them typically have some type of romantic charm to it, even if that's not the forefront of the story. But pretty much there's always a guy and a girl, and more often than not, the way the story is structured is one of the 2 people, the one that the story is kind of named after, is going to be fantastical in some way, and then the other person is going to be mostly just a normal person that has to deal with them / like will fall in love with them. That's kind of just the entire cycle of most of Takahashi's stories. Ranma's obviously that way. He's the fantastic one in that case because, the whole switching between a guy and a girl. Inuyasha is the one the show is named after. And he is the more fantastic person. And usually, despite being named after, the main protagonist is actually the person who falls in love with them or has to deal with them, right? Akane is more the main character of Ranma than Ranma is. Kagome is more the main character of Inuyasha than Inuyasha is. Even you go back to Urusei Yatsura, Ataru is more of the main character than Lum is because he's the guy that has to deal with all this crazy stuff happening. But he's also kind of the guy that started all the shit too. Like he's an instigator, so he deserves everything that happens to him. And you just see this continuing even now. She has a manga going on called Mao, and Mao is very much like the Inuyasha in this case, where there's something weird and special about him, and there's like a normal girl who's more the main character that gets involved with him. Except the subversion here is that it turns out that the normal girl also isn't normal and has like the same affliction in a way that Mao does. And it's like, you thought I was going to do it again, didn't you? But I got you this time. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a series named after, yeah, it's definitely, what's her name again? Can't remember.
Kagome.
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 It's Kagome's story, but she runs into this crazy character that, you know, changes everything about her life. So named after the crazy character, but he's definitely not the main.
Yeah, you say he's like the
More,
deutero protagonist or the deuteragonist, right? Like he is very much still like it's a co-protagonist situation, but
Yeah.
it's told from Akane's perspective.
Not Akane.
Not Akane,
That's
Kagome.
Ranma.
Sorry, I'm thinking of
Kagome.
Ranma right there. Dude, Kagome and Akane are very similar characters. They basically almost have the same personality, with some slight differences between them. Kagome's nowhere near as hot-headed as Akane is.
Yeah. But
They're
yeah,
both
it's kind of
actually
like
pretty sweet.
I mean, this is a stranger in a strange land kind of a
Yes.
story. As the other one is a stranger comes to town kind of a story.
Yeah. Instead of
Central
going
archetype.
away, everything finds you. Right? It's like everything's coming to her own backyard in Ranma.
Yeah.
Sometimes quite literally.
Two of the sort of basic stories, the whatever 7 main stories that
Yeah.
you know are the only ones there are. But, yeah, it's
Or as some people like to call it,
Interesting.
the 7 reductive stories.
I don't know if it's 7,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's it is interesting how there are I guess you call it like, well, there are like sexy elements and there are some very violent elements that I don't think anyone thought twice about, 25 years ago or 35 or 45 years ago. I mean, the original Tom and Jerry and Bugs Bunny cartoons had a ton of violence that is now always clipped out.
Yeah.
And it's like, that the originals didn't clip those, like it showed people getting shot in the face. And of course,
Well,
Bugs
even like
Bunny,
with
they just
the
have a black face, but
the sexy elements, it's non-erotic, right? There's almost
Right.
no eroticism to it. It's more of the beauty of it than anything, right? Or sometimes the ugliness of being sexy quickly turning, like with Madame Centipede going from having this upper body of like a somewhat curvy woman to immediately becoming like this monstrous thing. There's almost like
multiple arms.
allegories, right? The layers of like the sexy things are dangerous,
Yeah, and that woman that you were talking about a couple episodes where she had the hair.
Oh yeah,
that
Yura.
could, slice you and stuff, and they definitely didn't shy away from having her dress pretty sexily with the barely.
Oh, even
covering,
the attitudes. She had a very like femme fatale, very like this woman of beauty whose beauty will kill, which obviously hair is part of a woman's beauty, and the hair is deadly in this situation.
Mm-hmm. And then a couple of shocking things to me, but like I've been shocked if I saw it when I was a kid or a teenager, I don't know. But like the first thing was when Inuyasha's brother just slaughtered those wolves. They were attacking him, but like
he went to
chopped
their
them up into
territory.
tiny little
He went to find
Yeah.
them to kill them, basically.
Yeah, and then it's just like, well, like later it shows them just kind of dead and bloody.
Yeah.
But in the moment, it looked like he literally chopped them into pieces.
Yeah.
Just tiny little chunks of flesh.
Eviscerated
really-
them, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god. And then, but then the more shocking one was
Were
when
the
that
humans
other
afterwards?
dude,
Oh.
No.
Oh, okay.
The one of the Lightning brothers, the
Mm-hmm.
good-looking one,
Oh,
uh,
that was
came
I remember Monten was the ugly one.
right.
Oh, God, I can't remember the good-looking one's name. They both have 10. It's
Um,
something 10. Um,
yeah.
He 10. It's He
Let's
10.
10. Yeah.
Yeah.
He just comes home one day with this sexy girl, implying,
It was clearly a demon.
oh yeah,
By the way she's designed, pointy ears, her eye colors and stuff. Like he went and picked up another demon.
oh,
She seemed to be like a serpent demon was her theme,
really?
or
Okay.
yokai. They
Um,
call them demon in the dub.
but
They're all
he,
yokai.
but he was acting like she was like, not like a girlfriend, but like, a hookup, right?
Yeah.
Like came home with this chick, and then just out of the blue, fucking blows her away, just
Yeah,
like
because he lost
fries
his
her.
temper on
She's
something,
just
and he
like a
just
charred. It's just like a charred husk. That was just like, what the fuck?
Well, that's because she was basically just meat to him, right? Like, I went down, I picked up this lesser demon from another tribe, to have like an affair
I
with,
get it.
and then it's like because she never meant anything to him. He lost his temper. It's like
Yeah.
that's the same thing he did to her that he did to the door that he busted in because he had no respect for his brother's door, right?
Yeah.
Like it's
I mean, I
all the
guess I
same to
didn't
him.
realize. Yeah, I didn't realize she was a demon. That makes it a little bit less
Yeah, well, she had
deal.
pointy
But it's just
ears.
like,
Her eyes kind of had like a green coloration to them.
yeah, I
Yeah.
got that she was kind of weird looking, but I don't know. That was just like, what the fuck? He just like brought this chick home and then just got mad and just turned her into a charred piece of charcoal. Is like, oh
Yeah.
my god. But yeah, I'm just like, yeah, that was just kind of the 90s. Although I don't remember like the cartoons I used to watch, nobody died. G.I. Joe and Transformers and stuff, like nobody died. So it is a bit n- you know,
Well,
a bit more intense.
it didn't pass the general American standards at the time because this wasn't able to be shown during the daytime. They only could show it like in
No.
the middle of the morning while kids would have been asleep.
Yes.
It was
It must have been really early.
uh, for me, it was about 4 o'clock in the morning Central Time. So for the Eastern Bloc,
Oh, okay.
right, that would have been 5, right? So it's been like right
Yeah.
before kids were getting up for school.
Yeah, I understand why. Yeah, because I would, shows at 6 or like, like I was telling you, like Woody
Yeah.
Woodpecker and Heckle and Jekyll.
Well, as soon as as like I'm getting ready for high school, as soon as that block is over and it starts the actual morning block, it starts playing reruns of like Pokemon and Bakugan
Yeah.
and Yu-Gi-Oh would have been like literally the next things. You're like, this is what kids
Yeah.
should be watching as they're getting ready for school.
Yeah, it says the cartoons I watched as a kid had characters die repeatedly. Yeah, but then they'd come back to life, right? I mean,
Yeah. Or like,
maybe not. I don't know.
yeah, it depends. It's like
Like,
Tom and Jerry, there was a lot of death in it. Now a lot of times they were almost like
yeah, but they turn into a ghost.
yeah, they'd go to heaven or hell or whatever, like the escalators.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna bring
like a
up. Is like
joke.
there's a lot of times that they're just so cartoonishly durable that death isn't even an option. Like they could be completely
Yeah.
diced by a fence or whatever and still be bouncing around. And then sometimes like the dumbest thing kills them and they turn into a ghost and go to heaven. It's like completely inconsistent. And because of how inconsistent it is, you don't even take the death seriously.
Yeah. I mean, it's played off as a joke. It's
Yeah.
not a serious thing. But like, Pokemon, the freaking Pokemon are deadly as hell. Like,
Yeah.
Pikachu could, in real life, would be killing people and Pokemon right and left. but
Apparently
they just
death
they get the little.
is on the table in
In their
Pokemon
eyes.
though, but only in the most serious circumstances. During that initial,
Probably only in the movies.
No, in the show. Go back to the original series. One of the first main plot points in like the earliest episodes of the show was Ash pissed off a bunch of like Spearows that were like attacking them, and Pikachu was in a critical state that he had to run to a Pokemon Center because he was afraid that Pikachu was going to die, right? So it's like it's only extreme circumstances, but death is on the table in Pokemon.
Yeah, but it still doesn't happen. I mean,
No.
Yeah,
It's just,
like
it's just it's on the table in the way that it's like kid friendly.
They talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they talk about Charizard. He's stuck in the rain because his owner abandoned him. And, you know, if his flame on his tail goes out, he's going to die, but they save him.
Yeah, because they have to come through. But I say it's on the table in the way that, like, you don't take the possibility of death seriously in something like Tom and Jerry, even when they do die. And even though nobody dies in Pokemon, you take the possibility of death seriously.
Yeah. Clearly, the characters take it seriously. So, but anyway, no, it's just funny because a lot of this stuff, I guess it wasn't allowed even back then.
It was the gore mostly for Inuyasha.
It definitely doesn't. Yeah. Well, but also like, you know, people would be just whining and crying on Twitter X about the getup that chick was wearing.
But also the fact that there's just like boobs shown, nippleless boobs, which I don't believe there was ever a version of Inuyasha where they were added back in, because I believe in the manga they're not even drawn, unlike the Ranma one, because they're not supposed to be sexy necessarily. Like there's not supposed to be any thing about the body. It's just like, oh, that's a yokai, and a lot of yokai are basically naked women, so we're just going to depict their form but nothing more.
Yeah, they're not they're like a deformed, slightly deformed sort of version, attempt at looking human. It's kind of like how the demons in Frieren talk like humans, but not quite right.
Though this one's a little bit different, right? Just because it kind of goes off of how Shintoism works. And it's more of like the reason there are yokai that can look like humans. Depend on how the yokai came about, because yokai can come about for any way. But it's because there is a spirit that began to inhabit this thing or whatever, or a spirit developed. And the spiritual nature of things is all things come from the heavens, right? So if the human form comes from the heaven, anything that develops a spirit or even other direction comes from the heavens could also have a human form.
Yeah. Flit says, I heard boobs and came running. Exactly.
Yeah, we're talking about Inuyasha, if you haven't caught it.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I feel like, well, maybe not, because it actually is just very common. I don't know. It didn't bother me at all, but like Kagome, I don't know. She just wears short skirts a lot, but
because it's her school uniform.
Yeah. Well,
remember, she's like, what is she, like 15 years old? I think in the first episode it says, "I'm Kagome. I'm 15." Yeah.
Okay. I thought. But anyway, never mind.
Yeah, I think and there's a slight stylization difference that makes them look different. Like Kagome looks like she's taller than she is because the style is narrower in Inuyasha. But like Kagome and Akane are basically the same age.
Well, you know, Fizz Joseph says it's easier to write erotica than be funny.
I don't know about that.
Jokes are difficult.
But I think erotica is too, because most erotica is shit.
Yeah, none of this is erotica.
No, it's not.
None of it.
None of it.
But she does. Her uniform looks exactly like Sailor Moon. It's like every time I see it, I'm like,
well,
it's Sailor Moon.
That's because it's a sailor fuku, and that was the common like high school uniform in Japan for a long time.
Yeah, I guess so.
Especially given that, like, they ran at the same time for a while, right? Because Sailor Moon mostly ran through the 90s. There's a slight shift in time between the two, since Inuyasha started later and ended later. But they roughly were in high school at the same time period, so they would have roughly the same type of uniform, just different color depending on the school.
Yeah. It is humorous that
Yeah.
she somehow, and I can't remember offhand, got this necklace around Inuyasha that lets her sort of control him, but she only does one thing. That's the only thing. It's
Well,
like,
that's the
never
only thing
felt-
it can do. So they're
Oh, is that it?
called the. I'm trying to remember exact name. The beads of subduing or subduction or something. They basically they're magic prayer beads that force the person to basically bow to you. Right, like that's what they do. They were prepared specifically for Inuyasha by Kikyo, his old girlfriend, the priestess from the opening bit of the show.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and in case they were necessary, but she died and thought that she permanently sealed Inuyasha away before they were necessary. And her younger sister Kaede had just had them this entire time.
Yeah, the beads of subjugation.
Subjugation, that's it, yeah. I was close.
And really all it does, it's according to the wiki, they amplify gravity to the point of making him faceplant instantly.
Yeah, because the
Whenever
original,
Kagome says, "Sit, boy."
I'm sure the wiki has updated it as more explanation was given over time, but like the original secondary material you ask Takahashi in interviews was just it forces the person to bow to the other one, right? It's a very extreme bow because he ends up face planting, and you were supposed to come up with a command to force them to. And Kagome is just like he's a dog, right? You see the dog ears. So what does a dog do? In Japanese, the command literally means heel. Sit boy's funnier in English though.
Yeah. Asuwari.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah, so that's worse. But I think that's all I got to say about it so far. Like I
Well,
said,
we're
only
barely
halfway
through it.
Season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
But these old shows, they move fast too.
Yeah, in the first couple episodes, it's really slow. It's like you don't know what's not. They don't really get into the plot until like episode 3 or so.
Yeah. Well, because the
Introducing the
first two
characters.
episodes are just set up about like, this is Inuyasha. This is the time period we're in. This is the sacred Shikon jewel. Oh no! Now the jewels split. We're in episode 3. The actual quest begins. Find all the jewel shards.
Yes.
Yep.
So
But it's fun, because it's a quest though. It's a fetch quest, right? Like at least
Yeah.
as of now, what the actual goal is. So you can be like, cool. I know what I'm in for.
I don't know if have they collected any of the shards yet?
Yeah.
I guess maybe a few in that little bag. But it's very which I guess intentionally vague. Like the shards are tiny, and they say there could be 100 of them, there could be 1,000, but it's kind of like I thought. I mentioned that it reminded me of the 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, except in that case, they really limited themselves. They should have been like, oh, I don't know, there's not 13, there could be 100, there could be 1,000. We don't know. This could go on
So
forever.
you think they limited themselves, but then like halfway through, it's like, oh no, somebody let out the ghosts that we already captured, and we have to go get them again.
Yeah, but like the fetch quest where they
Yeah.
could go on forever and they meet infinitely different many people.
Nobody questioned either, and I was telling you this while we were watching. At this point, Rumiko Takahashi is already like the equivalent of an A-list mangaka, or like one of the few A-list mangaka. She was the one who carried Shonen Sunday, which, funny enough, it's called Weekly Shonen Sunday. At no point in its history has it ever come out on Sunday. That's just a name. It almost feels wrong that it never came out on a Sunday, but it's like, what magazine would come out on a Sunday anywhere in the world, right? But she basically carried that magazine. It's the same when Freerun runs in now. The only other thing in that magazine that's ever had the clout that she does and arguably is an even better seller. You could be the thing that carries the magazine. Is Case Closed, has been running in Shonen Sunday since its inception, and is still running now. It's one of the longest running manga of all time. It puts One Piece to shame. But Case Closed came about after Takahashi had already helped establish a lot of that magazine. So I think she gets a little bit more credit than that. And she had already done Mermaid Saga, which wasn't at that magazine. She had done Urusei Yatsura, which half of that was at that magazine. She had moved over halfway through production. Ranma 1/2 had already happened. And on the side, she had been publishing other smaller stories with other magazines and stuff. So she was like such an important figure in the manga industry. And the fact that other magazines were willing to publish her stuff meant that you could not afford to lose her. It's like, well, she could literally just go anywhere else. That she could with Inuyasha, like, how long is it going to run? However long I feel like it. And there's nothing they would say about it. Nobody would question it, and everybody was just along for the ride.
Mm-hmm. Seems like a good plan to me. This Chozo seems to think that anime is all about fan service.
It's not. But you should definitely not watch shonen anime, though, because it's directed literally at boys going through puberty. So obviously most of them want to see fan service. If you don't want to see fan service, maybe don't watch stuff that are directed at pubescent boys.
You know, what's funny is Rerun has these like moments where it's like, it's almost like parodying fan service. Like, we're gonna start to do it, but Fern always like puts the kibosh on it. Yeah, she's like the killjoy. Like when
I'm actually
gonna give.
On that subject, talking about with Freerun, because that's the same magazine, I would say specifically, just don't read or watch stuff that comes out of Jump magazine. Jump magazine specifically is known for its fan service. You notice there's not a lot of fan service coming out of Shonen Sunday stuff, right? Like, you could argue, like, Ranma kind of bordered that back in the day, but it was more of just like everything was jokes. It wasn't even super fan servicey. The original adaptation was more fan servicey than the manga was. But then everything after this, like Inuyasha's not fan servicey, Freerun's not fan servicey, Case Closed is not fan servicey, which is Detective Conan. If you don't care for fan service, it's just a better magazine to read. You know, find the stuff you like.
Yeah. I just think it's funny when Freerun's going to give Stark the potion that dissolves clothes. Fern's like, that is disgusting, and she just pours it on top of Freerun. She's like, I told you to give that back.
Do you happen to have another one too?
No, she didn't. That was the
I
one
thought
she had.
said
It
she
was
had
very
another.
expensive too.
Oh. I remember there was a part where she was saying, like, I happened to find somebody else who had it. Maybe she didn't buy it yet, and Fern was just like, no, don't. That might have been a manga-only thing, though.
I forget what she ended up giving him for his birthday. But she's always very thoughtful. Like, surprisingly thoughtful. Like, she gave Fern that hairpin that she ends up wearing forever after that.
Yeah.
I did want to hate Freerun's World. I know.
Yeah, he hates fun stuff.
Before we move on, I wanted to address Chozo's earlier first comment.
The very first one that he had?
Second comment. How come Puniru, a kawaii slime, has never been adapted? Huh. It's very interesting because I want to show you something.
Okay, let me...
Hey, look at that.
A lot of things have been adapted. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, look at that. It's, you have the right one?
Yeah, I found
I'm not going to play the whole... But there we go. I didn't actually mean to do that. I thought I was trying to... There we go. Just trying to show the little preview. Puniru, a kawaii slime, is on Netflix. 1 season so far, 12 episodes.
Yeah, because one of the cool things is Netflix has been going around and picking up like a lot of these almost unwanted things. A lot of the stuff that like the production companies aren't bidding for, they're like, cool, no one's bidding for it. We'll put the money behind it.
Yeah, yeah. I never heard of this, but apparently it is a genuine like children's show.
Yeah.
According to his shows. I'm just going by what he's saying. But oh well, interesting. There you go, children's show right there. Oh, there we go. Very nice. All right. Well, I just wanted to show that.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, some might say it's a children's show.
Oh, hey, Mike. Joshua.
Mike came
Yeah.
in. Polite. Joshua came in guns blazing, man.
You love to see it.
Woo. Yeah. But yeah, I'd never heard of that, but I looked it up and instantly got a link to the anime. Presumably there will be more seasons.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that and the House of David, which I recommended to Peach. She said she's going to try to watch it.
Oh, that's been great. And we only have 2 episodes left, but it's the 2 that everyone's been waiting for, the 2-parter for David versus Goliath. So
yeah. Boy, they didn't really. I mean, Goliath was like the very beginning, but then the whole rest of the show has been like a flashback. And he didn't show up again until right at the end. Right near the end.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think like halfway through is when they first showed the giants, but they've kind of just been in the background here and there, and yeah, we've seen more of them in the last like episode or 2.
Yeah, it wasn't clear how they came in, and I don't. It's sad to say, I don't really know the story that well, having not, grown up reading the Bible very much at all.
Yeah. Yeah, you'd have to actually crack open Samuel to know the story of that one.
Yeah, that's one of those, books later past Deuteronomy. We don't go.
Yeah. Anything that's not in the Torah, it's like that's extra. That's homework. We don't do homework.
Or wait, where does Numbers fit in? Is this Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy? Yeah, that's the last.
Yeah, the first 5 books, everything, which is funny because the next 5 books almost like has its own name for that, and that's really like the chronology of the history of Israel is the next books after that. Is this a Bible anime?
Yeah.
No, it's live action. It's
No.
Amazon live action series.
Amazon
Really
series.
highly produced and done well.
It's great. It's great. It's not like, I mean, obviously it's it's a Bible story.
Yeah.
So they're going to talk about, being Hebrew or whatever and all that stuff, but it's not like, if you're not religious, it doesn't matter. It's a great story. It's a fantastic show.
And it's going to continue.
Like I said, I didn't know, like, I don't know, 90% of this story, and it's obviously it's not perfectly historically accurate, but
yeah,
I mean, I think
there's
you'd
not
say
enough
if it was
dialogue
like, oh, well, that didn't even
in the Book of Samuel for it to be a series, right? Like there's some explanation of things that happen, but like obviously they have to make up dialogue based off of the events that happened, or else you just wouldn't have a show.
Yeah. I didn't know all of this stuff about the king and going crazy and having hallucinations and stuff, and it's all very interesting. And then he comes in, falls in love with his daughter, and
Which I believe
cool.
in the modern Christian Bible, Samuel is split up into 2 different books. It's 1st and 2nd Samuel. Originally, in the Hebrew texts, it was all just one long story called Samuel, and it was the book prescribed to be written by Samuel, which is why it's named after him. That starts with like his birth and then goes through, and there's also like the anointment of Saul is a big chunk of it, and I think most of this is 2nd Samuel, from what I'm used to. Which is about the life of David.
What it's called? This is called The House of David. It's on Amazon Prime. Excellent. In fact, I think I read one of these maybe 2 weeks ago that it's like second most popular show on Amazon Prime now.
Oh, that's cool.
I think after
Like
Reacher,
right after. Oh, after
something like
Reacher. I would have figured Invincible would have been more popular, but
I feel like I said did it pass? I think it passed Invincible before that season ended. Yeah, I think it did. Amazon shows, and for some reason, the Wheel of Time. I don't believe.
Wheel of Time's garbage. Not the book series. The book series is, from what I hear, good. I just have never gotten into it. I can't tell you, but people whose taste I usually trust have said the book series is good. The Amazon series is absolute trash, though.
Yeah. It was, well, 2 weeks ago, I believe it just for, I guess people kind of dropped off of Invincible near the end of the season because I believe it was like Reacher, House of David, Invincible. And now it's dropped down a bit because of some new stuff. Twisters. That looks kind of interesting. It's a documentary.
Oh,
And
like
then,
for tornado chasers? I do like tornado chasing.
Yeah. I might have to watch it. I think that's on Netflix too. But I guess it's on Amazon Prime. And Tyler Perry's Duplicity. Okay. It's only been out for 3 days.
I have very mixed feelings on anything Tyler Perry makes. I don't hate it. I don't like ever dislike them. I just don't ever think they're great. They're perfect, like the definition of like slop as a movie. There's a lot of really funny scenes in there. They definitely work better as plays, most of his older stuff, which they were written to be plays first. And I think they work better in play format. But they're just great. I'm going to sit down and have a meal with the family movies, though. Like if you just want something to put on.
I guess.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so wait, that's just overall. So the top 10 TV shows this week, actually. Reacher, House of David, and then Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
And
Who's
then
still
Invincible.
watching that?
So I don't know. I think the new season just started. So
Yeah.
but yeah, it's still number 2 actually. TV show. It's very good. Although apparently Reacher is better.
Reacher is really good. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Yep. But top 10 movies, Twisters number 1. Twisters, plural.
Not to be confused with the other movie, Twisters, that was a sequel to Twister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. This is a documentary. I knew that, but it does look interesting. Maybe people
how
think
old
it's
is
the movie.
Twisters? Yeah, maybe because that movie only came out like what, last year or the year before that. It's not very old. I remember we were talking about like I don't feel like seeing Twisters.
Maybe-
I didn't like the first one. Well, I
Oh.
didn't dislike the first one.
Well, wait a minute,
but it
wait a
wasn't
minute,
that
wait a
great.
Oh, maybe this is the movie. Okay, this is. Yeah, never mind. This is that movie
Okay.
from last year. It just came out last year. But I know there was a Netflix.
Yeah, I think that's probably
Documentary.
completely unrelated. The Netflix one has like a subtitle
Okay.
to it, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm wrong. Yeah, that was the sequel movie. Okay. But number 2 on Netflix is The Twister, Caught in the Storm. That's why. I
Okay,
got
yeah, that's
confused.
the one you were thinking of, yeah. Because I keep seeing the title for that one.
Yeah. And it's about a 2011 tornado ripping through Joplin, Missouri.
Yeah.
That sounds more interesting than the stupid Twisters movie.
Yeah. Because I saw the original Twister so many times growing up because my mom really loved that movie. She would quote it all the time too. For no reason. Like it wasn't even fitting for the circumstance she'd quote it. She would just be like, I gotta go. We've got cows. Right.
yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah,
it's
I
not a
kinda liked
bad
the
movie.
original.
It's entertaining. It's just not worth like rewatching
How
too
it
many
went.
times. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen it twice, maybe.
Yeah. I've
But I think
probably
I saw
seen
it
it
in the
10
theater.
times. Just because
Oh
my
my
mom
God.
really liked it.
Yeah, it's one of those disaster movies. It had some good effects and stuff.
I did hear good things about Twisters, though. Like, I heard that, more importantly, it doesn't have, like, most of the woke crap that you see in movies in it. It was actually about, like, a couple working together, playing off of each other's strengths. I'm like, well, that sounds endearing, and there's a disaster in it. Just never watched it. Because I'm like, do I really want to watch another Twister?
Yeah. In the original one, Carrie always dies in a fiery explosion when his van gets launched into the air. That was pretty satisfying. I like Carrie always, but
I like Carrie too. But that was a good moment.
He played a really asshole character.
Oh, he's such a good actor too, because he could play like the most charming guy in the room or the biggest asshole. Like he could go straight between each extreme.
Yeah. Or he can chop his own foot off.
Yeah. To be fair, that character was kind of an asshole too. He was the type of charismatic one where in his day life you wouldn't think he's an asshole.
Yeah. Flit Amaranth says Boondocks still had the most accurate portrayal of Tyler.
I forget. I've seen like every episode of the Boondocks, but I only remember like 4 of them off the top of my head. The thing about Perry is they only really like the one character. Everybody who watches the stuff only likes the one character, and they put up with like all the plots and stuff for the jokes around that character.
Well, that's the Medea character?
Yeah.
Yeah. This one doesn't look like, I think this is a straight movie. I think it's
no, Medea, I'm not interested.
It's a drama.
Not interested.
Yeah, there's no...
It can't be as good as Medea Goes to Jail.
It's annoying that they call it Tyler Perry's Duplicity instead of just Duplicity. Like, how much of a...
Yeah, because you put Tyler Perry in front of it, you think it's going to have something to do with, like, the extended, I don't know what you would call the Medea universe, like the families involved with that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess it's to draw the crowds or something, but
he's trying to break out.
High-powered attorney Marley, faces her most personal case yet, and she is tasked with uncovering the truth behind the murder of her best friend Phila's husband. All right. Sounds like every other little crime drama movie that. And Super Mario Brothers movies on Amazon Prime now. And number 8, Tyler Perry's Divorce in the Black. Man, that guy must be rich as hell.
Oh no,
also,
he's definitely wealthy.
No Medea in that one either.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to say,
Perry was great as Count Olaf. Yes, I agree. He was very good.
Yeah. The movie just wasn't a very good adaptation of the books. Like, he did a good job, but it's just like...
Was he in a movie of it too? I know he was in like a series.
No, he didn't play Count Olaf in the series. Neil Patrick Harris played him in the series.
He didn't? Oh.
Which I thought Neil Patrick Harris did a great job too. No, he was in the movie that was done back in like the aughts, which covered like the first 3 books, not in correct order either. It kind of jumped around. And I thought like everybody was casted appropriately. Like they, in that movie, had amazing casting for the roles. It was just a really bad adaptation, like the script for it.
Yeah. No, you're right. I didn't realize. I guess I saw the movie. Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is in the...
Which I liked the Netflix series. I like that, given the fact that each episode's like 45 minutes, and they split each book in more or less into 2 episodes, they basically gave every book a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought the casting in that one was really good too. The only problem is like, just as a series, the series of unfortunate events just falls flat near the end. Like the last 2 or 3 books are just not very good. So even if you adapt it, like the end of any series is just not going to be that very good unless you intentionally change it and don't do like an accurate adaptation.
Yeah, the author should have quit while they were ahead.
Yeah, it's because the author is one of those like subversive, kind of like he's an absurdist, but the end was more nihilistic than it was absurd, and it just didn't fit like the rest of the series.
Yeah. Maybe he got too cynical at the end there. Joshua Hughes says he liked the movie and the series.
I'm not saying I don't dislike the movie. I'm just saying the movie's not a good adaptation. I enjoyed it a lot when I saw it in theaters. My whole family went out to see it.
Yeah, well, it was kind of episodic. There were like 3 different scenarios. They sort of you cover the 3 books, right? Yeah. So it did seem like 3 different movies.
And it seemed like they were setting up for a lot more until the fact that they took the wedding that should have been closer to the beginning and moved it to the end. It's like, oh, they want to put like a capstone on this story right now. They don't want to make any more of this series. And part of that is it was at the time where Carrie didn't really want to play the same character more than once. Which I didn't know that till after the fact, but if you knew that going in, you're like, yeah, there's not going to be another one of these.
It's so funny that he settled on Eggman as like, I love playing this character. I'll play him.
You should have brought back Ace Ventura. That's a much better character.
Yeah, but the second movie I thought was awful.
I think I like the second movie because it's awful.
Yeah, I think he played it. I mean, the problem is he did all the things in the first movie. So the second movie was just the same. It was more of the same.
You know what though, Flit?
Count Olaf confused with Count
Orlok.
Orlok?
The Count from Nosferatu. The Nosferatu, you know, he's like Dracula or whatever. In Nosferatu, he's called Count Orlok. The thing is, Jim Carrey would actually probably play an excellent Count Orlok. Shave his head, which he already did for Eggman anyway. Really like slender guy when he isn't trying to gain weight. Lanky. Already can look very not normal, not human. I think he would actually make an excellent Nosferatu.
Yeah. Is he referring specifically to the 2024 movie or just character in general?
It's the character in general. He just got it confused when we were talking about it. So Danny DeVito should have been Eggman.
I guess there have been 3.
I don't think Danny DeVito should have been Eggman. I don't think he fits at all.
Eggman's big.
He is big. Eggman is like an egg on tubes. Like he's got like a Humpty Dumpty body, but then with like a human head normally, right?
Yeah, and he really is. From what I remember, it's like pretty over the top. I mean, he's kind of crazed and manic, just like Jim Carrey. I think that was almost perfect casting.
No, I do think he's a good casting. I just don't think it's written like Eggman is the problem, right? It's like if you want to count him like an alt universe Eggman, sure, absolutely. It's just not what like you're expecting from old media or the games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he kind of took over the movies. Yeah. And you just dominates every scene that he's in.
Also, how often does he go, yosh? Like, where's that,
Yeah, in the games, he's more of a background character because it's just. But when he's on screen, I don't know. He kind of has a higher voice, more of a nasally voice, but he does seem more like. Isn't he interested in like capturing woodland creatures and turning them into robots or
sort of? That's kind of just like a byproduct of the plan. He needs it to power the robots. Eggman is just world domination. Is the type of person he is, right? Like he wants the Chaos Emeralds for the same reason. He just wants power. He is a mechanical imperialist. Depending on the series, right? Everything changes when you jump over to, like, say, Sonic Boom or whatever. Like, there are different incarnations of Eggman.
Yeah. It's funny how that entire series almost certainly would not exist if the director hadn't listened to the fans at the very beginning, or when they were about to release it, and been like, and then I don't know, there's a lot of conspiracy theories, like he did it on purpose or whatever, but it's like
none of that tracks though when
like,
you see, like, the fact that they had a real life dummy of the old version to use as a stand-in for certain scenes and stuff.
Yeah, and then they delayed it, and it cost, I'm sure, millions of dollars to fix the animation, and then but it was totally worth it because they easily made that back compared to how awful it would have been if they hadn't fixed it. And that people were so upset. Oh, you're listening to the fans? You shouldn't let them control you. I guess you should. Like, they're the ones giving you money. You better listen. But
they also had merchandise for the Ugly
Sonic
made. Joshua says, yeah, I saw all that stuff too. It's like a lot of those conspiracies just do not track with how much money was put into the Ugly Sonic.
Yeah. Well, easily made it back, and then the second, third ones I think were pretty damn popular movies.
Well, the second one is where it actually starts to feel like Sonic the Hedgehog, like the type of story being told. While the first one just felt like the story of Hop, but Sonic is there instead of a bunny.
Yeah, especially with the what's the guy's name, the cop.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
But he was in Hop too, right?
Yeah. No, I think they just look the same. Like, they're two similar looking people. I don't think they're the same person. But then they could. Like I said, if they aren't, they look so similar that I would think they're the same person. So I would also think they're so similar they're not the same person.
Yeah, no, it's James Marsden.
Is the same one? Wow.
He's in both. Yeah, crazy.
The thing is, he's just like the most normal, bland-looking Hollywood guy possible. So I would have thought he was in like 15 different movies he wasn't actually in.
Yeah, no. So basically, he did the same movie twice.
Yeah.
But he made a lot more money in the second.
In
Sonic, I think. But no, I thought he was great Cyclops because he's kind of
that was Cyclops.
Yeah, he played Cyclops.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know. I've seen him play Cyclops and never knew.
Yeah, 1, 2, and a little bit of 3, and until he went off to I think he left. I think they killed him off in X-Men 3 because he was in Superman Return, which was a flop. But
I liked
or
Returns.
Maybe it did well. I don't know. But
I'm not going to say it's a good movie. I just liked it.
Problem with Superman Returns is the enemy is an island.
Yeah. The island was so fucking cool, though. Like, as far as just like watching it,
out, or I did.
I was saying, like, the island is so fucking cool, though. Like, it's stupid, but it's like seeing it rise up and everything. Like, it's so cool. No, I think the only reason I really like it because there's a lot of really stupid things to that movie. I'm not going to defend that movie at all. Yeah. I even liking it, I thought it was stupid at the time, not just retroactively. But I really, really liked Lex Luthor in that movie.
Yeah, but his evil plan is to seduce an old woman.
No, it was all stupid.
There were cool parts. I mean, look, the scene with the airplane was fucking awesome.
Yeah,
and it's super unrealistic and everything, but it was like that intro. The thing is, they showed that in the trailers too. I remember that.
Yeah, they showed all the best parts in the trailer in that movie.
Yeah, that was freaking awesome. Catching that. I mean, and it showed like he wasn't perfect because he tries to pull the wing and the wings fucking fly off, and he's like, oh shit.
There's a lot of not good movies to even just bad movies that I won't defend, but I still like.
Yeah.
For example, Jumper. Jumper's an awful movie, but I really enjoyed watching Jumper.
That's the one with Bruce Willis, right?
No.
And
Jumper was Oh, what's his name? The dude who played Anakin. Hayden Christensen or whatever his name is, right?
Really?
The guy who could teleport from place to place, and
Oh,
Sam
right,
Jackson
right.
was in it. This is not a very good movie.
I don't think I've seen that.
Like retroactive, like you go back and you actually analyze. Not a very good movie, but I was fucking entertained by it though.
What was Bruce Willis in? He was in, was it called like Leaper or something like Jumper? The one where it's like time travel, and
Is it Looper?
He has to kill himself. Maybe it was Leaper. Anyway, I thought that was decent. Kind of dumb, but what were we talking about?
What was it? Trying to remember.
Oh yeah, Superman.
Bruce
So-
Willis. What was the Bruce Willis? I'm gonna find it now because you're.
The other cool part was when he goes around stopping all the crimes, and the guys, like these bad guys, are shooting at these cops, and they're about to kill him, and he gets in the way of the bullets just in time, and then the guy shoots him in the eyeball, and it just goes like this. You see the bullet go, and then just falls down. That was really cool. And I remember,
was it
the
Looper
director
had
being
time
like,
travel and Bruce Willis was in Looper?
Looper.
Yeah, which I said Looper, but then you said
Yeah.
Leaper again over me.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry. Yeah. Jumper, Looper, Leaper. What was it? Looper?
Well, they were close to the same, like because Looper was 2012, so that wasn't that far after Jumper.
Yeah. I get those confused. Why is it not even listed in his? Oh, there it
I
is.
don't
Loop. Sorry about that. Fitzgerald says, "Is it sad that Kevin Spacey was the most accurate Lex on film?" I mean, if he was, why would it be sad?
It's
That's
actually
pretty cool.
funny. That's not the only time travel movie Bruce Willis is in. I was remember another one, 12 Monkeys, involves time travel.
Oh, that was awesome.
I love
That
12
movie
Monkeys.
was
That's a great
awesome.
movie.
I've seen that movie
Yeah.
like a dozen times. I mean,
Yeah.
and Brad Pitt, he is fantastic in that. Crazy. It's kind of fatalistic movie, right? I mean,
Yeah.
he can't stop it. He can't change the past.
And that one created a perfect
kind of
loop. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's a more accurate portrayal, I think, of what most people think time travel would be like, where you can't change the past because it's already
You can only
happened,
cause it. Yeah.
right? Yeah.
But no, I thought Kevin Spacey was an excellent Lex Luthor. Like in portrayal, it's
Yeah, I
just
agree.
obviously the things he had Luthor doing was stupid. But then again, like if you read the comics, Luthor, as smart as he is, has a lot of really stupid crimes and plans and stuff. So I think that probably actually just made it more accurate. I don't remember
the heck is
Primer. Flit says Primer over Looper and Jumper combined. But I don't remember that one.
Indie movie. Man, he pulls that out of nowhere. Box office of $841,000 in 2004. I have to put that on my watch list.
Yeah, sure. Could be fun. But yeah, 12 Monkeys was really
it's-
entertaining. I would rewatch 12 Monkeys again like today. That's a great movie.
Interesting. It's another time travel. Primer.
But Jumper has
You know, it's a
nothing to do with
terrible
time
time
travel.
travel?
Jumper is space travel. Sort of. You know, it's teleporting instantly from one location
Oh.
to another.
No, see, I keep confusing that with.
Not outer space. This is all on Earth, but I'm comparing it to like it's not
Yeah.
time travel. You're traveling through spots in space.
Maybe I have seen that.
Yeah.
Been a while.
But yeah, it's the guy who played Anakin.
Um,
Just one day is gonna die, and he teleports, and everybody thinks he's dead. His powers just wake up that day, and he kind of just goes off on his own, presumably dead, has his own life, and he uses his teleporting powers to live a very ritzy life. He takes from banks in the middle of the night because he can just teleport in and out of the bank, and eventually it all catches up on him because there's this like organization that they're basically the Knights Templar or whatever, find him, and their whole thing is like killing off these superpowered people who can all teleport. He ends up finding somebody else who has the same power. There's not a lot of them. The only reason he's alive is because it turns out his mother was part of these knights, and instead of getting rid of him, she just disappeared and kind of wiped the records so they didn't know about him, and they caught up to him later. And there's like this whole battle that happens in the Roman Colosseum, in the deserts, back at their house. The other people even find a way of following the jumpers through their teleport because they kind of leave like this portal, almost like this fractal gateway of where they were behind, and they use electricity to reopen it. Like, there's a lot of interesting concepts in the movie. There's a lot of interesting scenes in the movie. A lot of the plot really falls apart. It doesn't have the best acting in it, though it's probably actually what's his name? Was it like Hayden Christensen or something like that? The guy, the main actor, was probably his best role. I think he acted better in that than he ever did in Star Wars. But like it's a B or C tier movie that they gave an A tier budget to.
Yeah. Well, now I'm kind of interested in this Primer movie. It is not Fizjozo related to DC Comic.
Thank God.
Apparently, it was directed, written by, produced by, and starring and edited by and music by one guy, Shane Carruth, who wrote an original screenplay. And shouldn't knock it. Or I shouldn't knock it when I said it had a box office of $841,000. The budget of the film was $7,000.
That's a really good return of investment. So
yeah, jeez.
I agree with Joshua too. Lex's big plan should have been to have stolen. I thought the comic was 40 cakes, but 50, sure. One up. Was it a comic? It's like a coloring book where he stole 40 cakes. But like, why not go higher? Why not 50 cakes? It's Lex Luthor.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta up the ante. You're gonna make a movie, big budget movie. He's got
What you do is you create like this really convoluted plot to make Superman think that he's got like a higher goal that he has to stop, and then at the end, Lex is just sitting there with 50 cakes, and he's like, "Once again, Superman, I win," and then it just cuts to black.
Yeah. Once again, or for once.
No, like implying that Lex always wins, but these huge plans, like the like grandeur, are all always just distractions for him to do something minor that he wanted to do, and Superman can't stop him because he's just always focused on the big thing. That would be an excellent plot line, to be honest.
Huh. So yeah, Primer actually has some thought as to how time travel could work, like backwards time travel.
Yeah.
Basically, you can't go past the point where the time machine was created. You can't go.
Yeah, a lot of people have a version of time travel that works like that. Usually in written form. I don't really see that often in movie form. So, especially given the year it came out in 2004, it was probably unique at the time. Yeah.
And interestingly, if you change the future or change the past in such a way that you don't go into the time machine, your past self ceases to exist or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that doesn't really work.
Works.
Yeah.
You go into the time machine and then, I don't know. You don't go into the time machine the second time. I guess you end up in an alternate dimension. Anyway, it does look interesting.
Bill and Ted had the best take on time travel.
Yeah. Well, Bill and Ted's time travel is, I've realized it's identical to, I think it's identical to the Endgame Avengers Endgame time travel.
So
Seems
no,
like.
because in Endgame they are actually going to different timelines and like borrowing their stuff and then putting it back, right? And they
That's what Bill
specifically
and
say
Ted
that.
do.
No, Bill and Ted's not going to different timelines.
But
It's all the same timeline. They're borrowing the
oh,
people, put it back, but it's like
wait.
anything that would have happened, they were
Yeah.
always the one who caused it, right? With even within their own timeline. So that's the difference. Like in Endgame, they specifically say that they're kind of going to different branches or possible timelines, borrowing the thing, but still putting it back, which is why they were able to have like a Thanos and a Gamora from a different timeline exist separately
Oh,
from
yeah.
like the Gamora they lost and the Thanos. They're not the same.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. Well, for a while it seemed like they were just going to their own past. There were no different timelines as long as they put the stones back when they found them. But you're right. The whole two Gamoras and two.
Well, like
whatever
Hulk
it was.
explained this before they even started that they were going to different like branches of the timeline.
I don't remember. Were there two Thanoses then? No, he doesn't.
Yeah,
come
there's the
back.
one that died at the beginning, and then there's the one from the other timeline that came in it. Yeah,
Oh, right.
yeah.
Forgot he died. Spoiler. Nobody.
And then the one from the other
Time
timeline,
travel.
the past Thanos or whatever, is like, your Thanos was weak. You know, you didn't like him.
Which is actually now I'm beginning to think it's Men in Black 3 time travel because.
Yeah, it's actually closer
Boris
to that.
the animal.
I think. Sort of, yeah.
Yeah. The younger Boris didn't think much of the older Boris for losing his arm.
Yeah. Well, and
The
Men in
older
Black,
Boris
even
didn't
though
think
it
much of the
was,
younger one.
Men in Black is kind of closer to Bill and Ted, with the potentiality of Endgame, right? So it is a looping timeline that causes actions in itself, but the only
things
reason
can
they
change.
can do that is because all of the possibility of timelines exist, and there's that one guy who can see things in fourth dimensions like, okay, but if that thing happens, that means we're actually in this version of the timeline, because he could see all the
Yeah.
possible stuff. So things can change,
Yeah.
but only because they all already exist. And that's actually really going into how like the many worlds hypothesis works. But in the many worlds hypothesis, you could never end up back in your own series of events. So there is still a slight difference with the Men in Black version of time travel.
Yeah, it's the Sliders,
Yeah.
tragedy that they're never going to find their original Earth because there's infinitely many. There's just never possible.
I really
I feel
like
like-
the time travel in Men in Black 3. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've reached the end of that timeline.
Yeah, probably.
Of that conversation. I don't know. Maybe.
No, we definitely reached the end of that Men in Black timeline. They tried to reboot it horribly with the whole Hemsworth, Thompson, whatever thing. I didn't watch it either. It's like, okay, you just ripped them out of Thor Ragnarok and try to. These guys are not going to be a buddy couple actor performance. It's just never going to sell. And nobody wants to see this in Men in Black anyway, so.
There.
But that also kind of killed any chance of returning to the old Men in Black. I would like to see Men in Black rebooted for real, but maybe in like 10 years after all of this stuff has slid past or whatever, then you can give me like a new Men in Black franchise. I don't want to see anything rebooted right now at all. I don't think it'll end up good. Even though we're kind of like getting past some of the horrible stuff, I think it's still too early for anything good to come out. We need to wait like another 5 to 10 years.
Well, I don't really want to talk about Snow White because
I don't
it
either.
sounds awful and apparently is losing money like crazy. That's all there is to say about it.
Yeah. Well, actually, there was a funny thing. It has actually gotten such a low score that it's passed by Dragon Ball Evolution. Dragon Ball Evolution is considered a better movie than Snow White.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I heard someone else compared it to something that they found had a better score. Oh yeah, Eternals. Eternals had a better score on Rotten Tomatoes than Snow White.
That's crazy.
I thought wasn't. Apparently, a lot of people did.
Oh yeah, no, I think Eternals was god awful.
I don't know. I kind of like. I don't know. I thought it was okay.
No. If it shows us says Men in Black movies were stuck with aliens, what does that mean? That's the whole point of the movies. I wouldn't want them to get away from aliens, you know, like.
What, are they gonna like suddenly have dragons or something? I mean,
you could if the dragon's an alien.
Yeah.
You could do anything as long as it's an alien. There was a giant cockroach in the first one.
Yeah. It did get a little ridiculous. Well, I mean, as far as like everyone everywhere is. Are there any humans?
No, there are plenty of humans. Right? There has to actually be on Earth itself more humans than aliens. It's just like aliens are such like a diaspora that have blended into society that you're not supposed to know where they are unless it gets pointed out to you.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess, following the main characters whose whole point is to deal with aliens, you're gonna.
He says the OG comics had them fight all kinds of things. Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to say something controversial here because I've read the Malibu comics. The movie's better. Very, very, very controversial take to say that the movie was better than the source material. You could call it something else, I guess, because I personally sympathize with anybody who would prefer an adaptation to stay close to the original. But that movie is better. I don't know. Give it a different title. Whatever.
I never read it, but I thought Men in Black 1 and 3 were excellent. 2 is okay.
I think all three of them are excellent, honestly. I think my favorite part in 3 particularly was the Andy Warhol bit.
Yeah. The guy from SNL.
Yeah, and it's like, well, of course Andy Warhol's an alien, or like related to Men in Black and everything, like, why wouldn't he be?
Yeah.
Just like,
yeah. He's like, tell him I'm filming this man eating hamburger.
Yeah, and it's like the dude's not even trying to be an artist. He's just like, he keeps just like, I just keep putting out pictures of soup cans, and these guys are eating it up.
Yeah. Get me out of here. You got to get me assigned somewhere else. Yeah, I love Griffin. He's great. See the Mets play baseball.
Yeah.
I like how he explained how like the game-winning I guess it was a game-winning home run or pop fly that the guy missed or something because the ball was misshapen because the tanner's wife had cheated on him or something.
Yeah. Like, it was a whole series of events that, like, it led to, like, a fly ending up in the factory that got crushed by one of the pistons. That mean the oxygen levels were off. And it's just, like, this whole series of events that led to the ball being just slightly deformed so that the hit didn't go the way it should have otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah. That's talking about like seeing all the possible series of events. I really liked their use of the many worlds hypothesis. I thought that was really good, and the fact that you could have like a 4D alien that could see all of these things.
Yeah. 4D or 5?
Or whatever, doesn't matter.
So what did you think of the Electric State? I finished watching.
Oh yeah, I don't know if you noticed. I hope Netflix saved it. I went and rewound it back to like the hour and 2 minute mark, like right before you left.
Yeah.
Okay, just so it'd be like where you left off. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I knew. Yeah, I had to go to bed because I was.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's cool that
Yeah, I didn't
Netflix
think, like, a
saves
lot
your
of people-
place though, right? It's almost like rewinding a VHS or whatever. It was a DVD you popped in. It's like, okay, what
Yeah.
chapter was I on?
So it needs people to buy his art.
Sorry, I can't help
I don't
you.
know. I'll take a look at it, man. But yeah, it really got panned. I didn't like the ending.
Did it get panned? So
it
you were
did,
telling me
yeah.
that people were not receptive to it or something beforehand. I hadn't heard anything about it at all until you brought that movie up. I just kept seeing it in the like the playlist, and I was like, sure, we'll watch it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure why. Yeah, because I was like, apparently Netflix really likes Chris Pratt because
Yeah, I
they
mean, who
put him in
doesn't?
yeah, the movie where he's fighting aliens in the future or whatever. Tomorrow War or whatever. I think so.
It had
But
Millie
other
in
than
it too.
Millie Bobby Brown,
Yeah,
which she was cute in it.
Yeah.
Again, it's like
she was fine.
she's like complaining that people are like saying that she's ugly or something, and I'm like, well, she's cute in that movie.
It had what was his
It was
name?
really
Anthony
sad.
Mackie played Chris Pratt's sidekick robot. Alan Tudyk played the Cosmo Kid or Cosmic Kid, whatever, the robot that her brother ended up in, and also the cartoon character. Hank Azaria was in the movie. There was like a lot of people in it.
Yeah. Overall I liked it. It was kind of interesting. It was all like, robots become sentient and
Yeah.
start to rebel, and then the humans fight them off with these basically drones that they control.
Stanley Tucci, once again, was an excellent villain. He could play anything. Good guy, bad guy, doesn't matter. Whether he wants to be a robot dad, whether he wants to be a Hispanic murderer trying to take out a spy, like he could play like literally anything.
Oh, did you ever see Devil Wears Prada?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was excellent
Yeah.
in that. And such a tragic, sad character. He was fantastic. in
My
that.
favorite role from him is talking about like a Hispanic murderer. The movie's called Undercover Blues. Have you ever seen it?
Mm-mm.
Okay,
No.
so it's about like a husband and a wife who are like on vacation or whatever, but they're like spies and they're undercover, right? It's the Undercover Blues, and there's like this whole comedy spy film that happens, and in it he plays a guy named Muerte, who was like a thug thief or whatever that tries to kill him at the beginning of the movie, and he keeps popping up throughout the whole movie. He keeps calling him Marty instead of Muerte, right? Because obviously Muerte means death, and just the worst things keep happening to him. There's a point like at the end of the movie where he comes up to him again, and they trap him in like the alligator pit at the zoo, and he's like, "Oh, come on, you gotta help me! You gotta help me!" And it's like, "Okay, well, I don't have anything. I need like a rope. Can you give me your jacket?" Right? He's like, "Okay, I'll give you a jacket." He's like, "It's not long enough. Give me your pants. I'll tie it on." And he basically gets all of his clothes. He's like, I still don't think this is gonna do it. I'll come back with a rope. And then he just leaves him there. And yeah, no, that's not at the end. I think at the end, he was on the boat with them. Sorry, that was before the end. At the end, they were vacationing on the boat, and he's like trying to get them, and they knock them off with the mast of the boat or whatever, and he falls off, and they're just like taking off without him. He's like trying to swim after the boat. He's like, help me. Hilarious character. But yeah, no, you could throw Tucci in anything. He's great.
Yeah. Who's and then the bounty hunter, which is a little weird because it was like an old guy who's um
I can't remember his name. It's like
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah.
Giancarlo.
Yeah, he was in Breaking Bad.
Yeah, but like,
and
it
he
didn't
plays
really
an excellent
matter
villain, which is great because he's not actually a villain.
Yeah, he turns out to have a heart. He just, wanted to keep people safe, and he thought that the robots were dangerous.
Yeah. He's like you could consider him like a lawfully good character where he will end up doing questionable things just because it's a law and he thinks he's doing right.
Yeah.
But yeah, it didn't matter that he was old because he was piloting like a droid suit the entire time.
Yeah, so he was like an old veteran who could, knew how to use the suit, I guess.
Yeah.
Or not the suit, but the drone. All it was that he wears a helmet at home and it controls the suit, wherever it is in the world. But yeah, I would say that Stanley Tucci was a bit of a almost cartoonishly evil villain, I guess you could say. But I mean, at least he had motivation. I mean,
yeah. Well, that's the thing is I don't even know if I would consider the character cartoonishly evil. He's definitely somebody who has like a single track vision of what is best for humanity. So like in his core, he probably thinks he's doing the right thing. There is definitely some twisted aspects to it that are driven by his own past, like with his mother and stuff. But it's like one of those evil characters where he doesn't see himself as evil, right?
Yeah. But he's like, it was a little weird that, like, I guess this whole network, the only way that all the drones work is for a human brain to control this network, and they had to find this
like
genius boy to
this hyper
run it
genius
while he's unconscious. Yeah. So, they're trying to rescue the kid, but he wants to keep him in stasis forever so that people could use these droids that have become, I mean, it's kind of an analogy to like being addicted to the internet kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So it's a bit of
Absolutely.
a bit of a Ready Player One sort of.
And it kind of like bifurcates your mind where like, I don't know if it's exactly left hemisphere, right hemisphere, whatever they're going for. But the idea is like, well, half of you can be off in a virtual playground enjoying your day while the other half is actually doing all the work that you have to do piloting this robot. So you can actually not get overwhelmed because you're doing both things at the same time or something like that.
Yeah, they didn't really, they said that, but they didn't really illustrate it. Like, it seemed like they were just in full control of these droid type robot things. Like,
oh yeah.
Were they also
but it's like
dreaming of being in a?
Yeah, so there's two instances where they kind of show
vacation?
that off. Actually, I guess technically three in a way if you count the brother's consciousness at the end, but you can also assume that he's kind of pretty much all there as opposed to everybody else who's piloting a robot. Aspect number one where they show that off is with Jason Alexander's character, right? Where he's like on the couch or in his recliner and he's like almost like dopey smiling. And they even talk about like how part of him is in this playland. And the other one who is him talks about his body as if it's a different person, right? So it's him. It's an aspect of him. There's the you that can pilot this thing and do everything, and then there's the you that is in this like virtual paradise. And the other time that they even show off the virtual paradise is with the hunter, and there's a part where Tucci's character goes into his like VR scenic mountain spring area that he's like in. And I think both parts are aware of what's happening with each other because he can talk and communicate with him about the thing. So it is like it's just using different parts of your brain to do different things. Kind of like how
Yeah,
a
but see that,
dolphin can put its brain half to sleep. Like different hemispheres can be asleep at different
yeah,
times.
but they didn't show them doing something else at the same time. It seemed like either one or the other.
Yeah.
Um, and they also showed the scene with Stanley Tucci where he was with his mother, and she was treating him nicely, I guess, which I guess she didn't necessarily do in real life.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I mean, that wasn't. I remember them talking about it, but they didn't portray that very well.
Yeah,
But
it's not
anyway,
portrayed very well. It's
small
like
part
there's
of it.
little subtle clues that visualize it, but not fully.
Yeah.
And it's mostly just them talking. It's more like you're told more than you're shown with it. There's a couple other parts where it's
Yeah.
like somebody's got the helmet on and there's still like Tucci's character still battling on the battlefield, but then he's like talking to like somebody over the radio at the same time about something completely separate from it. So there are things, but they're just none of it's
Yeah.
crystal clear.
Rick wants to know if you heard him snoring on his stream earlier.
No, because the stream was almost like it was ended, just like not on the YouTube end. It was just stuck on the last frame, buffering for like a couple hours. You know.
Interesting. Yeah, and then there was Short Round, which is the only thing I'm ever going to call him.
Who
But
played two different
Lee
characters.
Kwan.
Yeah, Quan.
Well, yeah, he played himself and a robot that sounded just like him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I liked it. I liked it. It had a bit of a bummer ending.
I thought it was
but,
fun.
Yeah, I don't know why it got such bad reviews. At least where
Maybe
I
it was
saw it.
because of the ending. I don't know. I thought the ending was fine. I don't think every movie needs to have like a completely positive ending. Right? It was still
Yeah.
It was still positive. The boy got what he wanted out of it. And
Yeah.
like
Sort of,
they
yeah.
set up the ending really early on too, that it was going to be bittersweet when he was like in the robot body and there was that one person with the headset on. He's like a homeless person or whatever that was renting the headset. Like there was an outside module on a telephone pole or whatever. And you could tell as they were showing it like a drug addiction that this person's homeless because they're spending all their money to be on these rented headsets, like a homeless person who's like drinking alcohol or whatever. And he was like, the world needs saving. Like using the lines from the robot. He cared more about freeing everyone. Obviously, they also said that his body would not have worked without the what's it called? The life support systems that they had him hooked up to. So it's like, it's more important to free everybody from this than to save my life.
Right. We're talking about The Electric State, which just came out on Netflix about a week ago. About 10 days ago. Which, and I thought the robots were really, cool and cute, and like the male woman robot was really cute. And,
I think her name was Penny something.
Yeah, and the sidekick. What was his name? Herman.
Herm.
Anthony Mackie. Yeah.
And you had like different sizes of him.
Great. Yeah, he's like one of those Russian nesting dolls. He kept getting inside a bigger one, and then he'd get the bigger one would get damaged, and he'd just come right out. He's a smaller
there's
one.
also almost a like an artistic thing. I'm trying to think of the word I'm looking for, but like an artistic turnaround where earlier on you have Pratt's character is riding on his shoulder in a chair, and then at the very end where all he's got left is that like 8-inch version of him that he didn't even know about, and then he's like riding on Pratt's character's shoulder at the end. So it's kind of poetic.
Yeah, this is kind of crazy. Like Fitzgerald actually is right. not that's not what's crazy.
Yeah.
He said it definitely lost money on this to the amount of money spent. He's had a budget of $320 million. That's more than Snow White.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
He keeps asking about the
Why did
Looney
it-
Tunes
I
movie.
mean-
No, none of us here have seen The Day the Earth Blew Up. I believe it's in theaters, right? I don't know if I want to go to theaters to watch a Looney Tunes movie. The last movie related to Looney Tunes that I watched in theaters was actually Back in Action, and I don't regret that at all. I think Back in Action is probably the best Looney Tunes related movie to ever come out in theaters. Space Jam can go suck it, but I don't know. Like, I'll just wait until I can watch it on streaming, and it's probably
The
on
original
Max.
Space Jam.
No, I don't even like the original. I think it's overrated going back and rewatching it. I liked it as a kid, but then like rewatching it was like, this movie's not particularly good or that entertaining. There's some moments that are good in it, but I feel like I could crop Space Jam down into a 20-minute short film and it'd be better.
Mm-hmm. It's funny that that Looney Tunes movie actually got really good ratings.
I'm sure it's good.
Apparently.
I just don't know if I'd want to go to the theaters to watch it. And if it's anywhere, it's going to be on Max, right? Because that's
But
what,
Yeah. See, now that had a budget of $15 million. Why did this movie cost $300 million?
Yeah. I've heard nothing but good things about it, though. Like, I've no prejudice against it. I don't know.
Okay, wait. Okay. All right. Google. Okay, wow. Google is only showing the critic ratings. So, yeah, for some reason, and I don't know why, like, usually when the critic ratings are vastly different from the audience ratings, it's like, I don't know, it's like a right-wing movie or something like that. I didn't think there was any message in this. Maybe that's why they didn't like it. But critic ratings are insanely bad for the Electric State.
Oh, yeah.
Like, all critics, 15%. 15. And top critics, 6%.
Well, I mean, for the last decade, it's kind of been that way, where it's just like it. Typically, the audience and critic scores will be inverted from each other, no matter what the movie is. Like, if it's good on one side, it'll be bad on the other. With very few movies being the exception to that. And it's because critics are just out of touch with the average viewer. I know, except everybody's panning Snow White.
Nobody likes it, yeah. But the audience rating is 71%. I think probably because it's kind of a mindless action movie. It's just fun.
Well, Fizz Joseph's bringing up that it was a comic. I didn't even know the Electric State was a comic. Never heard of it before this. It was a dark apocalyptic comic with minimal story. No, this is the first time movie or any other form that I had ever heard about it. I just jumped into it blind.
Yeah.
I didn't even know anybody was going to be in it other than Millie and Chris because they were on like the preview image on Netflix.
Yeah. I saw it on Netflix first, and then I saw some critics that I usually, tend to agree with were panning it. And it's not like a brainless, like you don't have to turn off your brain. It's not
I don't know.
that bad, but it's like
it's not
fun.
Amazing either. I'd probably give it somewhere between a 5.5 and a 6. Like it's just a movie.
Which you tend to give lower ratings than most people.
Yeah.
That's a decent rating for you.
That is though. Yeah, it's like it's 5's the 5-ish. 4.5 to 5.5. I would say is like the average line. So I'm putting it like closer to the top of the average line.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like a 7 out of 10. I'd say decent, worth a watch if you got Netflix, worth the time. You won't feel like those 2 hours I can never get back. It is actually fun and entertaining. I don't know why people didn't like it. I guess we could read the ratings, but
yeah, I'm sure people will probably tell you why they didn't like it. And I don't know if I'd agree with them, possibly, but.
Oh, see, yeah, they're basically saying it's there's no message. It's the lowest common denominator. They're basically the critics are complaining that it's meant to appeal to a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
Like the first review, it's eager to satisfy as many demographics of viewers as possible.
There is almost a message in it though, like, but it's the kind of stuff that, like, I think it's such an old type of story that nobody sees it as a message anymore because
Yeah.
it's somewhat anti-corpo, just a little bit, but a certain type of, right? It's in the same way that like Final Fantasy VII is, right? It's also mixture. It's not super pro individualism, but it's not like super collective either, right? It's kind of like falls right in the middle of like you need to do what's best for everyone, but you kind of need to check yourself out first.
Yeah, it's like I mean, it's not very original. Like I said, it's
It's
very
old as
similar
time.
to, yeah, like Ready Player One or whatever. But well, here's a Daily Telegraph UK. It's beautifully designed, which I thought so, with both its flesh and blood performance and the larger world that I defy you to watch more than 5 minutes without wishing that your flat screen was the size of a house. Okay. Do you like the visuals? Yeah, I just thought it was fun, but apparently the
Movies are allowed to just be fun. You know, they got to remember that, you know? Like,
and I don't know what, like, some people are talking about that it was too muddy looking and the, fight scenes, they couldn't tell what was going on. I'm like, I didn't think that was the case at all. All the robots were very distinctive, had distinct personalities.
yeah, absolutely. And they felt like some of the people they cast for it I think were very appropriate. Is it Hank Azaria played that kind of like magician robot or whatever?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the robots look like stuff that you would have seen in like Simpsons or Futurama, right? Like it is that type of, these are robots that are made for a practical purpose. And they have been sitting around here for a really long time because they haven't been doing, like, their practical purpose was decades ago.
Yeah. Maybe they didn't like the fact that the leader was literally robot Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut was cool though. Especially when like he pulled a cane blade, like rapier type thing out of, right? Charge! I liked Mr. Peanut. He was a good character.
Yeah, I guess he was supposed to be like Theodore Roosevelt kind of thing, maybe, or combination of him and Abraham Lincoln. I don't know. It did seem like willing to charge into battle, even though he was like the president. Anyway,
yeah,
I'd say if you have Netflix, it's worth a watch.
And oddly, I don't know if you're gonna feel me out on this one, but at a certain point in the movie, I was getting Wizard vibes from it. Like early on, when it's just like her and the brother traveling before they even hook up with like Pratt's character, I was getting like this feels like the Wizard a little bit. Yeah.
Oh, the Wizard, like the Nintendo movie?
Yeah, like with the kids that are going cross country to like it kind of loses it after a certain point, but even with Pratt and Mackie's character before they make it to the mall, I got like some loose the Wizard vibes from it just early on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the brother is clearly, I mean, I guess he's autistic or whatever. Oh,
or something, yeah.
It's just, well, I mean, the robot gives off that vibe because he can't really talk. It
makes him seem more than that than the brother actually was when you got to deal with him in the flesh.
Right, yeah.
The robot gave like Bumblebee vibes because of that too, since he couldn't talk directly.
Right. Yeah. I will say it was kind of derivative of a lot of different movies. But I thought it came together pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty well. I thought you meant the Wizards, that animated movie from the early 80s, late 70s.
No, I was talking about the Nintendo Road Trip movie with the Power Glove. It's so bad.
Yeah.
There's another movie I would not defend and
Wizard.
say it's a great movie or anything. I think The Wizard at best is average, but it's a movie I enjoy a lot.
Yeah. It's so bad.
Yeah.
I love the Power Glove. Robots in Fallout also look similar to Futurama.
Yeah, because they're basically like that world of tomorrow kind of like 50s, 60s idea of what a robot should look like, which is what most of the robots were in this because of when the robot war started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's funny is there's still this idea that in the future robots will, well, although this was a alternate, right? It is sort of an alternate history because it was like present day, wasn't it?
No, there's actually, we never made it to present day. This took place in like the 90s, I think. Like that. Yeah. It was a whole alternate history because it goes all the way back to like the assembly line, but it said like the first robots were made by Walt Disney as attractions at his, theme parks, right? Like animatronics. And then that's where like the history of like robotics goes into the direction. I actually, one of the things I really appreciate about it was the alt history of it. I was talking about that while we were watching it.
Yeah, but somehow they managed to come up with AI so that they're sentient.
Yeah, like way before we actually were able to, because we still haven't really even hit that.
And even now, yeah, I mean it's funny because like they portray the robots as basically humans. I mean, they clearly have fully. I mean, some of them have like certain mannerisms and functions that they were designed for, but they all seem it's like Futurama. They all are clearly fully sentient. Which is
absolutely.
Like, I don't know if we'll ever get there.
No, probably. I don't know.
If we'll get there with
I think the closest thing we have to that right now is Neurosama, and she's not even there.
Yeah.
Though they did put her in a robot dog body, so I don't know. Where things are getting dicey. We need to be looking out at that stuff.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. But yeah, we're over time.
Well,
and we didn't have to talk about, I think, any of the stuff I had pulled up on backup, which is good because honestly, most of it was depressing anyway. So, cool. Thank you guys for showing up and watching. If you enjoy the show, please share it out with other people. It really helps us out. And if you really enjoy it, want to go one step beyond, consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitorium live. Doesn't matter if you're here watching it now or the VOD later. I'll read out whatever message you put on the next episode, So it's worth it. And we'll see you guys no later than Thursday for Game Central Junction.
Bye.